Right, some bad news on the development front. One of the parts failed quality control. We know how to fix it, but it'll take some extra resource. It's on hold for now, but you can order the extra work from the laptop at any time.
Yes, hello everyone and welcome to another episode in my F1 2017 career mode here today at Austria, and unfortunately we start off with some bad news. The engine power part that I wanted to upgrade has failed, but without further ado, let's get into practice and try and sort out these practice programs.
Good morning, welcome to the Red Bull Ring. Let's join the action trackside as the cars are about to appear for today's practice session. Beside me to take you through free practice today is a man with 3 decades of racing experience under his belt. It is, of course, Anthony Davidson. Thanks for joining us today, Ant, and tell me, where should we be focusing our attention today?
I think we need to be looking across the entire field to see how far these cars are able to push a single set of tyres. While everyone will be trying different setups and running with different fuel loads, if you're attentive enough, you can definitely pick out trends for each type of tyre compound, which will give us a rough idea of how long the drivers are able to stay out there during a stint in the race.
So here we are then doing our normal practice programs, doing relatively alright on the track acclimatization. There were a few points where the car was just running a bit wide a lot, but I managed to sort that out over the weekend, it was fine. But here we are now trying to sort out get enough resource points to get the engine power upgrade back for the next race. Hopefully we can do that, because you know I think at this point we really need an engine power upgrade, because Red Bull and Renault have made engine upgrades. So, and obviously they're using the same power unit as us, or the engine as us. So you know, but there's the practice programs completed there then, and just to give you an update on the performance comparisons, Ferrari and Mercedes are equal pretty much, and we're level with Haas. So hopefully we can get away from them and catch up to the 3 teams ahead of us. But without further ado, let's get into qualifying.
Thanks for joining us on this Saturday afternoon, where qualifying is about to start here in Austria. So sit back and enjoy the afternoon session. So, could be a tasty one today then, Ant. We've got all the ingredients, that's for sure. Treacherous conditions, an ever-changing racetrack, and 1 or 2 cars just behind the pace setters who maybe, just maybe, fancy a bit of an upset after a good performance from them in free practice.
And the question has to be, of course, what is that circuit going to look like in 10 to 15 minutes from now? If you think the rain's going to get worse, then you have to be straight out when the lights go green to find whatever grip you can. But if it eases off, then you're better off waiting, saving the tyres, and going out at the perfect moment. The other thing that comes with these conditions? Traffic, and the lack of visibility that comes from sitting in the spray. It's going to be a constant problem, and I expect to see a lot of frustrated drivers with ruined laps out there today.
So our first qualifying session with heavy wet conditions. This is actually the first session I think we've had with any heavy wet conditions, with the full wet tyres I mean. So I wanted to make sure I got a lot of runs in this. So coming to the end of our first run now, we go P6 ahead of Grosjean, so that's good. We're ahead of Grosjean and behind Stroll. But coming to the end of our second stint now, we go 7th ahead of Hulkenberg now, behind Massa, I think that is. So yeah, doing quite a lot at the minute, but coming across the line to finish qualifying. We start our final run in qualifying, and coming across the line now to finish in qualifying. Sadly we're down on this lap, but I don't know whereabouts we've got. Hopefully it's a good position, 9th. So should have a good start to the race. Let's see what we do.
The grid is all set then for the race tomorrow. But before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top 3, who are Hamilton, Raikkonen and Max Verstappen. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. So,
9th place then for the Grand Prix of Austria. Hopefully it should be a relatively good Grand Prix. I mean, obviously I'm going to say we're out of position because, you know, wet conditions could always throw a surprise. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the race and see how we can do from 9th place.
Austria, traditional home of many great things. Apple strudel, Mozart, Niki Lauda, oh, and of course, one of the finest high-speed racetracks on the planet. Anthony Davidson joins me to talk you through the action here today at what is quite an unusual racetrack, wouldn't you say, Ant?
Yeah, it's quite an odd layout around here. The thing about Austria is that it's a harder circuit to master than what really meets the eye. On top of that, it's a low grip surface, and that means that your small mistakes end up being punished, and it's very easy to slide wide into the runoff area and lose a huge chunk of time. Luckily, because it's such a short circuit though, you have plenty of opportunities to perfect the lap.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, edging out Raikkonen, who'll start P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Ricciardo, Sebastian Vettel, and Bottas, Perez, Massa, Toro Rosso, and Kevin Magnussen. Hülkenberg, Stroll, Romain Grosjean, and Ocon, Alonso, Sainz, Pascal Wehrlein, and Marcus Ericsson. Palmer and Stoffel van Dorn completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, we qualified higher than we were anticipating. Let's see if we can do just as well in the race.
Jeff probably getting a bit ahead of himself there, but here we are then. There's the race strategy, ultra soft to softs. I can't remember if I changed it or not, but I upped the fuel quite a bit because I wanted to run in rich for a lot of time in this race because, you know, it's quite short circuit. So, you know, I wanted to make sure that, you know, that I had the pace all the way around the circuit. But as you can see there, we've got Massa starting on softs in front of us. Obviously, with wet qualifying, you can start on whatever tyre you want. So we've got Massa starting on softs ahead of us and Magnussen on ultras behind us. So I don't really know how they're going to work that, but it should be an interesting Grand Prix this because we've got two different tyre compounds around us. So hopefully we can have a good Grand Prix. Hopefully we can still get points. You know, starting in the points, we can hopefully end in the points. So lining up on the grid now then, waiting for the 5 red lights to go out now. As we're now lining up, waiting for everyone else to line up as well, because obviously we're a bit further forward than we used to in this career mode so far. So this might take a while to get loaded. But here we go then. Waiting for the 5 red lights now. We've got 3 lights, we've got 4 lights, it's 5 lights. So lights out, and away we go here for the Austrian Grand Prix. We've got off to a relatively good start. Obviously Massa's going to get off to got to get bogged down at the start because he's on the softer compounded tyres. But we've got Bottas trying to be overtaken by Perez. We've gone wide a little bit there. Massa's got us back down the inside, and now we've got cars going 3 wide ahead of us here. Can we possibly get a move done here? We've got 4. I don't know what's going on in front of us, but it's just mental. And we've got Magnussen going around our outside now. Who will possibly go down the inside as Bottas just does a weird move there, and he loses a load of positions. He's also on soft tyres as well, which is interesting. So hopefully he won't catch us up by the end of the Grand Prix. But diving it down the inside of 3 cars, maybe going down the inside of Vettel as well. I mean, somehow we're down the inside of Vettel. I don't know how that's happened. But there we are then, down the inside of Vettel, and we're now up into 5th, I think this is. I can't quite see because the skybox was conflicting with the numbers in the top left. But coming around the final corner now, we've taken too much curb. We've gone across the flag of Austria, sorry about that. And we've lost the place to Vettel, which is really unfortunate there. And that really just summed up my race from then on, really. I tried to not go as backwards as quickly as possible because we were obviously out of position, but defending successfully there from Perez, and now as we're now coming into the pit lane for our first stop and only stop of the Grand Prix, we've got Perez going around on our outside there, which is quite nice to see. Obviously we're coming into the pit lane now, so relatively good start to the Grand Prix. You know, gaining a couple of positions off the start line, and then obviously losing one by a stupid mistake on my part, which I apologise for, by taking too much curb going into the last corner, and then losing a place to Vettel. So, all in all, it's been a relatively good start to the Grand Prix. You know, obviously getting ahead of Vettel was a bit of a long shot, really, and staying ahead of him was a bit of a long shot. But coming out the pit lane now ahead of Ericsson, and behind Palmer. But as they've all made their pit stop now, we're coming out just ahead of, running a bit wide there as well, just ahead of, well actually, we've actually pulled out a gap ahead of Perez, so which is quite surprising there. But between then and now, I've also got a gearbox failure now as well, so I've lost fourth, which is also always helpful when you have a Williams behind you. So now coming into the final corner, he's going to go round the outside possibly here. He's going to possibly, he's still there. I mean, fair play to Massa, but unfortunately we slide it through the last corner because we've lost fourth gear. And now, as we're now coming up to the second corner, technically it's not the third corner, it's the second corner. That little kink there is not a corner, let's be honest. But as Massa now dives down the inside, we've got fourth gear back, and you know, we've got some defending to do here now, it seems, from Massa, as we now have about 9 laps to go here. So coming down into the third corner now, we're defending once again from Massa. We push him out wide and we successfully hold off Massa for now, for 7th place. Once again, the straight line speed of the Mercedes engine in that Williams is just immense, and he holds it down the, well, I mean, I love the new AI on this game. I mean, look at this battle. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just amazing that the AI are actually holding it down the inside now, and he's still there as well. And we touch tyres once again, but we just about managed to hold off that position now. And coming on to lap 31 now, we're just about going to hold off Massa once again, I think, here, as he go around to the outside this time. But we push him a bit wide and we successfully hold him off there once again. And we hold him off now for the final lap, but unfortunately I make a massive mistake here. We lock up and Massa successfully go. I lose the back end as well, we lose a bit of our front wing, and that we hit the side of Massa, and now we're going to go try and get that position back from Massa, but unfortunately we've got Grosjean here now trying to go down our inside, but we dive it down the inside from a long way back. We've locked up, we push Massa wide, and Grosjean has now taken 7th place somehow. And I don't know where Massa's gone, I apologise for that, Massa, but as you can see there, the wing damage from the collision before has just totally made us lose momentum in this last sector. And Massa has even caught up to us once again, as Raikkonen wins the Grand Prix this time. So as we now come around the final 2 corners now, could we possibly hold off from Massa here? I think we can, and we come across the line for 8th place, a relatively average Grand Prix, but we still get points anyway.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
So, another excellent win from Ferrari. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium, and as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari. And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. Kimi Raikkonen takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after that excellent result. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
It's got to be Romain Grosjean. He was in another league for me today. Really impressive.
On to the constructors then. Ferrari moved to the top of the table. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. After all that excitement, it's time for a lie down, I think. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye until the next race.
So a good Grand Prix from us then, gaining 1 position from the Grand Prix, and as you can see there, the top 4 in the driver standings are separated by 7 points. I mean, what is this? That's just mental. If that happened in real life, I would have no idea what would be going on. But it seems to be that one driver wins the next race, then the other driver wins the next race, then blah, so on and so forth. And it's just an incredible battle for the title. But we're still in 7th comfortably, I think. Well, 3 points from Perez. But and in the constructors, then there's 1 point between Mercedes and Ferrari, and we're still in 5th. But if you did enjoy this episode, please leave a like and a comment, and I will see you all next time for my home Grand Prix. Goodbye.